Today, let's wind back the clock. About 4 months ago, I covered a scam organization called Regal Reserve. The motivation was quite simple. This group had begun to negatively impact a friend of mine, and beyond that, the gut feeling, the little voice in the back of everyone's mind that guides them through life, it was screaming at me, something is wrong. What followed was a multi-stage process of research and exposition culminating in what I hoped was positive change, but in reality was merely further manipulation and lies by this putrid organization, aimed at dodging accountability and continuing its existence as an abysmal stain on the face of esports. I was then faced with a choice: move on, knowing what this group is, knowing what it has done and what it will undoubtedly continue to do, or build slowly towards a crescendo that would shine daylight on as many of the dark and sordid aspects of this organization as possible. I chose the latter, so here we are. Before really diving in, I want to take a moment and highlight some additional creators covering this topic as well. SidAlpha, some may remember, is a creator I myself have had conflict with in the past, but have since grown to tremendously respect. His content is excellent, his opinion measured and well presented, so without any reservations at all, I highly recommend checking out his channel, which is linked down below. Sophia Narwitz is a games journalist seemingly from an era long past, where the words actually meant something. Having witnessed her work firsthand with the ESA data leaks and following her articles ever since, I can easily say that the quality of reporting far surpasses the typical drivel we are used to from mainstream media sites, and I will be including links to her various profiles in the description. 21 Kiloton is an undeniable wordsmith. His coverage pulls no punches, and in a world where humor has largely been under siege as of late when it comes to subjective feelings, witnessing someone tackle these topics with total, unmitigated, and unfiltered articulation, it's a sight to behold, and one that I personally find to be extremely entertaining. His channel will be linked down below as well. Pescatore News is a reporting group I have only recently connected with, but in that very brief period I've been amazed at not only their reporting speed, but also their ability to uncover relevant supporting information. Their news team is comprised of a few members, including Josh Pescatore, John Swan, as well as some others, and again I have linked their social media channels in the description down below. But now, without further ado, the main event. This will not be short, it will not be simple, but by the end, hopefully, I will have truly done justice to all the voices, past, present, and sadly, probably future, who have been harmed by Regal Reserve. The timeline is complicated, the drama is thick, but once you take up a task, it should be done right, so here it is. Part 3, the grand finale of my Regal Reserve coverage. It all started with a mansion, or lack thereof. Regal Reserve made a resurgence into the esports scene after many months of silence by proclaiming far and wide that it had bought an expensive mansion in Scottsdale, Arizona to populate with streamers and content creators. The dreams were big, the claims were bold, but something felt wrong. It took perhaps minutes to determine that this mansion was still for sale. The house, and I'll say again, the house, not mansion, was listed on Zillow, and further verification from the Maricopa County Assessor's Office confirmed that it was in no way, shape, or form under the control or ownership of Regal Reserve or its current CEO, Andrew Arbini. This is where we need to draw a definitive line. The mansion was not just proclaimed as a soon-to-be content creator residence, it was also used as a prize. Regal Reserve would be running a recruitment challenge, a competition to let one lucky winner move rent-free into the mansion should they be chosen, and this is where it all falls apart. Regal Reserve is a registered LLC. There is a difference between a child lying in a YouTube video and an actual company running a promotional competition while offering up property residence on land and within a structure that they do not own. To round out this coverage in its entirety, I consulted an official Arizona state attorney under employment at the Vega Law Group. As an aside, I am also opening a professional relationship with them, and luckily have family in Tucson. I will not hesitate to fly there and attend court proceedings. Do not even consider using false DMCA copyright claims to attack this video, Andrew. I have plenty of resources. I was given the following information. Arizona Revised Statutes 44-1522 makes it unlawful to use deception, fraud, false promises, misrepresentations, or concealment in connection with the sale or advertisement of any merchandise. Furthermore, Arizona Revised Statutes 13-2203 makes it a misdemeanor crime to make a false or misleading statement in an advertisement. This establishes a baseline. Regal Reserve falsely advertised property they do not own as a promotional advertisement by an officially registered company, which is a crime, but that was and is truly just the foundation. As I explored the topic, it became clear that there was much more beneath the surface. A 22-year-old brat lying about a mansion for social gratification is one thing, made exponentially more severe by the fact he did so with a legitimate business entity. But this was not the only example of lies and deception. It turned out that the official Regal Reserve Twitter page is a hacked profile from a small-scale celebrity and was bought and sold by Regal Andrew after the original Regal Reserve Twitter had been banned for violating Twitter terms of service. This realization bloomed outward in spectacular form when it was shown to me by inside sources that Regal Reserve has also leveraged partner creator profiles in such a way as to get those accounts banned or suspended as well. The format was one constructed around the use of auto-posting and forwarding services to grow the Regal main profile, but that activity was outside the realm of Twitter's click-through agreement and was negatively impacting their own members. After the main Twitter account for this decrepit organization was permanently banned, Andrew took it upon himself to try and rebuild, assuming ownership of Regal from its previous owner, Jordan Daly. Regal Andrew then purchased a new Twitter from a well-established third-party hacker and proceeded to relaunch this failure of a concept. Alongside this, he also began to employ a new tactic for both personal and professional social media growth. The tactic was to give away small sums of money and require everyone to follow him for a shot at this unreliable and ultimately unverifiable reward. The amounts range from $1 to once in a while a few hundred, but the raw metrics were truly and expectedly substantial, preying on the desperation of social media users who, largely speaking, have no interest in esports and no interest in gaming-related topics whatsoever. Andrew and Regal Reserve were able to increase their metric follower count very rapidly. At this point, it needs to be made clear that these giveaways are not going off without a hitch. On more than one occasion, there are issues. Threads pop up where the legitimacy of whether or not these funds were ever even sent is called into question, or issues behind Andrew's self-proclaimed standard of only offering giveaways when it is other people's money to be sent, thus attaining free growth while someone else pays for the desperation clicks.
If you want to do another giveaway and me to tag, I'm willing to chip in my own money, which I normally never do. All my giveaways are sponsored, but I understand in certain circumstance.
Furthermore, since this is a prominent joint tactic between both Andrew himself and Regal Reserve as an overarching company, it requires the question to be asked, has he been abiding by the required taxation guidelines behind accepting money in from individuals while paying that money back out to other individuals as giveaway promotional rewards, since it can be quickly established that the giveaways he runs on his personal Twitter profile are funneled through the Regal Reserve LLC bank accounts. But still, the tide is only just now starting to come in. This newfound social media growth can quite clearly be seen. However, it can also be seen that there are substantial decreases the very second these giveaways are not running. The tactic and subsequent results are obviously transparent, create inauthentic growth that is not an accurate representation of social reach or active support. Such giveaways can quite easily be held with other selection criteria, but the requirements are always the same. Retweet this and follow me plus another additional person. Let's take a moment to recap here. Regal Reserve initially began with faulty promotional tactics that were outside Twitter's terms of service. As a result, they were shut down. Sometime later, the organization relaunches with a hacked Twitter account they illegally purchased and begins to grow again, right alongside the CEO using predatory adjacent methods, which create inauthentic metrics and raise questions of regulatory compliance. Directly during this relaunch, the company leverages a fake promotion, advertising a prize that would include free residence in a mansion that they do not own, which is a verified crime. Now, most of this up till now is recapping material I have already known, reason being it is fairly important for context, but now I want to expand into more recent developments. After my initial coverage, it became clear Regal Reserve was not altering its methodology. If anything, it was actively devolving as the organization continued to prey on smaller creators with a spiraling trajectory that could only end in disaster. Knowing that I had already covered this topic twice in the past, I began searching for an entry point. If I were to truly be building up to a crescendo of coverage, it would need to be constructed in such a way as to be worthy of a viewer's time. Well, about 1 week ago, Regal Andrew gave me that entry point, and did so in such an extraordinarily ignorant way, I was honestly shocked. The moment came during his broadcast of what is apparently a new Motivational Monday segment, where he shares his wisdom, his word, not mine, his 22-year-old wisdom, with viewers. The important segment is heard about 20 minutes in, when he addresses a previous scenario in which a Regal Reserve member, by his rhetoric, presumably a very young one, was acting inappropriately. So Regal Andrew psychologically manipulated this member to benefit himself. The segment is long and contains all the charismatic potential of a slowly deflating balloon, but there are a few key moments.
How to incite drama and incite the world around you to better influence you while making it look like other people are gaining the most. Here's how. So with Regal, we had a pro Fortnite player, right? Good, really cracked out kid, but he seemed to be very problematic. So one of my rules in Regal was telling him, hey, like from the beginning, no drama and no hitting on the members. Two big no-nos, right? You hit on the members, you're out. Like, you're done. That's it. We're all here to grind our goals. You get one warning and you're out. Stop hitting on the members now. So what does he do? He goes off, does that same thing again. Okay. Now what do? Do I A, kick him? Or do I B, incite a reaction out of him that's going to benefit me and benefit Regal for the best? So this is kind of playing in terms of psychology, what I'm about to present to you guys, and how I accomplished this. I had known, A, Regal was going to get a Fortnite house. This is going to be something huge for us. This is what I did. I told this kid, hey man, like we're getting this Fortnite house. I overhyped it. It's going to be awesome. Then the next day, I kicked him because he violated his contract. He'd gone against my rules, right? He didn't show up for certain tournaments. He, did some negative things, and because of that, I already knew in my head. And I told him, hey, like, we're getting this Fortnite house, it's gonna be awesome, but keep it on the DL. That was the most important thing. Keep it on the down low. If you don't keep this on the down low, like, you're gonna ruin all of our plans, right? I took someone who hated Regal and who started hating me, and I turned them against themselves. So instead of just accepting the hate and being like, wow, I'm a person, no. All of a sudden, people are talking about me. They're talking about my brand. They're talking about something that I haven't even done yet. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the hate got to a place of enough, right, where people were talking about it, bam, drop that announcement right then and there. That way, the world had all of a sudden turned around on him. It started to support me. More people knew about what Regal was.
The logic of manipulating someone who is struggling within an organization and then kicking them, rather than exhibiting strong leadership and guiding their reform or severing the relationship in a professional way, is non-existent. Furthermore, the near gleeful expression of how everyone was talking about something he did not even do yet, i.e. false advertisement of a creator Fortnite house, begins to make it clear that his motivations behind Regal Reserve are far closer to egotistical self-gratification than legitimate growth. He also goes on to say that when the hate got to be too much, he dropped the announcement and everyone began to support him. This is where the step is taken from ego-driven recklessness to outright delusion. The official Regal Reserve Mansion announcement, with a false claim of ownership, images, promotional contest hints, and more, was deleted after my initial coverage of the subject. Andrew's tactic was to lie to his own member, attempting to manipulate that member's social standing for his own personal gain, and then lie to the public with false advertisements, illegal claims, and fraudulent announcements, only to have that lie exposed, retracted, and deleted, while now lying yet again about the entire circumstance. To be thorough, given the nature of gleeful manipulation, perhaps this has all been a long con, and Regal Reserve purchased the very same mansion well and truly after their initial lies. Perhaps it was then held back, kept secret, and left in waiting till the heat once again started picking up. Perhaps it was an elaborate attempt at 46D chess, who knows, but even if it was, the surrounding structure is festering with rot. The mansion announcement was not the only cover-up attempt. The next video to go was the dedicated promotion of the Regal Recruitment Challenge, a challenge heavily emphasizing free rent for the winner in return for brand promotion from smaller broadcasters. Free rent in a mansion the company did not own, and this level of deception permeates outward through every facet of Regal's enterprise. The next video to be shamefully withdrawn was his response to my initial coverage, a response pathetically constructed around the defense of lease expirations not happening until December, so that is when creators would move in. He also explicitly states that he himself would be perfectly able to cover this rent referring to the $8,000 per month house he had lied about, as well as one additional person, aka the contest winner.
Currently, the house is listed at $8,500 to rent a month on Zillow, and while I myself would definitely be able to cover this rent as well as an additional person, aka one person who wins the recruitment challenge, the fellow content creator roommates we've chosen that I'd be sharing this with can't move in until December. Now this is kind of due to their leases not expiring until then, or for other financial reasons such as they're saving up so they can afford this for an entire year.
Except here we see further lies, as testimony from numerous ex and current Regal members started to be discovered or sent directly to me. It could be established from multiple cross-referenced sources that Andrew's plan was to have 8 members of the house, each paying $1,000 per month, so that the mansion paid for itself, without him having to contribute. This directly contradicts his response, and with the current month being December, and mere hours to go before its conclusion, it seemed like the perfect time to wind up and take a swing. Let's recap. Regal Andrew lied about his company's possession of a mansion. He lied about ownership. He lied to a team member in order to psychologically manipulate him by proud and public admission, while lying to his then active audience about the results of those previous lies, also having tried to delete all evidence of his false claims. Unfortunately for him, I have all of the videos saved, and that content is not so easily purged. This was the perfect entry point. Andrew clearly created an independent rule set, so I decided to play by them too, and tried my hand at the very same manipulation. As I started preparing for this coverage, I made it very clear I would be investigating timelines, and should I become blocked, it would still be easy to continue digging. He took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Not only did he block me, but coming back to reference material I once knew to exist on his timeline, it is no longer there. Fortunately for me, the Internet Archives have cataloged what he wanted to hide. This is a snapshot of an attempt to garner brand recognition by leveraging social media metrics. Let's recall what those social media metrics even are. A hacked Twitter, illegally obtained, and inauthentic follower growth gained by giving away other people's money to desperate users. The word defraud is legally defined as to make a misrepresentation of an existing material fact, knowing it to be false, or making it recklessly without regard to whether it is true or false, intending for someone to rely on the misrepresentation and under circumstances in which such person does rely on it to his or her damage. The word damage in this context means financial compensation or theft based on misrepresented material facts. I'll wrap this point up with a final piece here. In Andrew's wisdom session, he talks at length about how when you need money or a brand needs advertisement, you will find each other, which reinforces the fact that he knows there is a material component to these sponsorships, and was attempting to leverage inauthentic growth, a hacked profile with misrepresented value to industry brands for material compensation. Compensation that would then not be used for the mansion that he does not own, and his members would be paying for so that he didn't have to. I pulled every string and you danced like a puppet, Andrew. Still, the tapestry of lies and deception is practically mythic, and once the barrel is tapped, it will continue to flow. Part of the reason why Andrew banned this particular member and lied to him about the mansion is because he was hitting on members, which is a big no-no. But during the outpouring of testimonial I received during past coverage, key witnesses provided statements which indicate that Andrew himself was inappropriately approaching the very same members of his own organization. Some pointedly asked to remain anonymous, others asked me not to share what they told me at all, rather to act as a sounding board for them since they felt this was finally someone they could talk to about all of it. But others were very open about their position, one even giving me testimony in audio form. I will refrain from playing that segment here and now, it is rather long and I've played it in past coverage, but absolutely everything I discussed today, with the exception of anonymous items, will be made available in a Dropbox folder with a public link in the description. That folder will also contain all of my past videos, as well as Regal Reserve's now deleted video lies. On top of this, it seems that Regal has a well-established pattern of recruiting young, attractive female broadcasters, creating necessary speculation as to what the motivation here really is. An organization where the rules focus on prohibiting inter-member fraternization, but the CEO and leader of that organization engages in the very same activity, while the recruitment process heavily skews towards young, attractive female streamers. What is the real purpose here? These are merely questions, but questions require asking when the circumstances that bear them are suspect at best. Including testimony sent to me previously after my initial round of coverage, there were messages such as the following. Please keep in mind this is an unverified source. I do not know who this person is. I do not know what the experience was. And truth be told, I am less than proud of my own response. If this were to be someone who had undergone a traumatic experience, my words could easily have made them feel invalidated. At the time, I was overworked and underprepared for the massive influx of testimony and feedback on this organization, which led to responses like this, which were less than ideal, to say the very least, and for that I apologize. Again, this is territory that begins to take on a much more sinister undertone. I am not making actual accusations right now, merely showing what was sent to me in relation to this topic, and this is by no means the only example. The question of leadership extends further. During the development stages for Regal Reserve, Andrew said the following to an editor for the organization, who I have confirmed from inside testimonial has autism. I'll refrain from reading it directly, but all are welcome to pause the video for a moment and read it themselves. Order also made a public video on the subject, a video I will link down below in the description, which gives further context and information. But the underlying point is that Regal Reserve is rancid, from apex to base, infected by mismanagement, lies, and fraudulent behavior. How about taking a sharp turn now and analyzing their website? In truth, they have two, but when taking a closer look, that actually makes it a lot worse. Site number one is regalreserve.net, clearly an older page which has dozens of team members listed, each linking to social media, most of which are banned from Twitter or not associated with Regal currently at all. Furthermore, their listed sponsors are GT Omega Racing and Aporia Customs, except Aporia Customs does not have Regal listed as a partnered brand in their directory. The second Regal website is regal.gg, and this one is even worse. The top third of the site seems perfectly fine, with a shop link and a stream embedded into the page, but when you scroll down, they didn't even bother to change the lorem ipsum sample text. Honestly, this is easily forgiven under most circumstances because website upkeep when that website is not integral to any business function can frequently take a back seat. Take Upper Echelon, for example. Our site has been wasting away for months because we shifted focus and turned it into a placeholder of sorts while new programs are being developed on the back end. But it's a bit of a different story with Regal. First, the lorem ipsum sample text indicates they simply did not care. No one even scrolled to the bottom of their own page or put in enough time to write sample little paragraphs. Second, the calendar events listed date back through 2019, and as far as I have been able to research, they do not exist. If there is a digital record in some capacity of Regal Reserve in a League of Legends tournament held in St. Louis, please let me know. The only corresponding event I could find is the LCS Spring Split. Regal Reserve did not compete in the LCS League of Legends St. Louis tournament in any capacity, so why is this there? I could not find any record of Regal Reserve playing Cloud9 in a Fortnite tournament during April, nothing about Apex in New York during May, and nothing about Regal Snite, whatever the hell that is. I think perhaps they mean Smite in May versus other teams. There is a big difference between a bad website, an unkempt website, and a website full of lies. Regal Reserve has all three. They have false sponsor listings and outdated or banned team members linked on one abandoned webpage, with outright competition lies and the most rudimentary text laziness I have ever seen on another entirely separate website. At what point do we start to question how the hell this team is allowed to exist in esports? I can also draw connections between financial discrepancies and past recruitment policy. Here's a tweet from Hungrybox, a high-profile Team Liquid player, who is directly referencing Regal Reserve when he laughs at the absurdity of a contract that offers him nothing but only serves to take his winnings. This would then match up quite consistently with the idea of Regal Reserve having 8 members pay for a mansion, while the young and manipulative owner does not, while that same owner gives away other people's money on social media to create inauthentic metrics and, for legal reasons, I'll pose it as a question, to maybe, just maybe, defraud brands? But now let's examine the largest creator within Regal as a standalone channel. GameWatchable is a Fortnite creator with over 200,000 subscribers, but with even a surface level analysis, we can see the same sort of fraudulent, manipulative behavior that is present elsewhere within Regal. GameWatchable frequently does promotional videos where he calls for children to implement his creator code and talks at length about free items, such as the following.
If you guys want to see how to get yourself a free item, the lightsaber pickaxe from this huge Fortnite crossover event with Star Wars, make sure you watch until the very end of today's video. I'll be showing you guys all the free items you can actually get from this Star Wars collaboration with Fortnite, so you guys can actually get the Imperial Stormtrooper outfit for free in Fortnite. And so there is an ongoing promotion happening right now, and so what you guys need to do is buy the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game on the Epic Games Store.
This video was entirely constructed to manipulate its audience. You want a free item? Go buy this thing to get the free item. A contradiction in and of itself, but that can even be brushed aside in favor of a more pressing concern. GameWatchable flat out photoshops fake imagery. A great example would be the lightsaber pickaxe for Fortnite, a video designed to elicit excitement from children over a free lightsaber pickaxe, but as we now know, that item is not a pickaxe. It is an in-game item to be found during matches. This is a blatant, photoshopped scam, designed to gain metric engagement from children while they implement his creator code and hope for a giveaway. A giveaway often featuring items that simply do not exist. That is the largest creator within Regal Reserve, and that is the standard this organization has. There are past recruitment challenges where dozens of members were selected to get more people talking about the brand, as Andrew himself might say, only to see those members dropped immediately after and relegated to an entirely different team because they were not valuable enough. What happened to the most recent recruitment challenge, the one where the winner would move into a mansion paid for by 8 other people, that was illegally advertised and now the evidence deleted? The list of questions is never ending, and when you dig, it is a cesspool of garbage and lies. Some might wonder what relevance a lot of these issues hold. I am branching out to increasingly distant places to highlight the organization's failure, and it may seem gratuitous or unnecessary. To explain this, I would like to draw from the iconic Prince Machiavelli, for it must be noted that men must either be caressed or else annihilated. They will revenge themselves for small injuries, but cannot do so for great ones. The injury, therefore, that we do to a man must be such that we need not fear his vengeance. As I prepared for this video, I received the following from Andrew. He pointedly claims that the very same morning, oh how convenient, Regal officially got its player house, right before Christmas Eve, right as the pressure mounted. Kind of like how he dropped that last Fortnite house announcement, by his own words, right as the pressure was mounting, because that was, as we all know, a lie. He also claims I should not insult TwitchCon, as it is likely his self-aggrandized mental talisman of success, and to have someone not salivating over public fandom and convention attendance almost definitely conflicts with his worldview. Well, f*** TwitchCon, and f*** anyone who views it to be a lightning rod for social superiority. With the now unending torrent of lies and deception, I smell a bluff. Post a notarized bill of sale or verifiable deed with proof of ownership dated on or before December 23rd, 2019 with reference to a mansion at or above the value of what was previously advertised, and I will eat my words. I say deliberately commensurate value because the likely alternative is a classic bait and switch scam. Advertise luxury, deliver mediocrity. Considering he has dug himself a gaping chasm to climb out of with tweets such as the following, where he specifically asked at the end of October publicly to the random masses for 1 or 2 more people who would be willing to move into this mansion and pay a yet to be determined amount of rent with a very clear-cut move-in date of December 16th, or how about November when it was $500 a month with a roommate or $1,000 per month without one, and a December 15th move-in date? What is this, subletting a college dormitory to random strangers on Twitter? Considering all that, and the fact that he also has a history of claims and assertions that are almost never adhered to, like these, where he would reveal his new car he bought in 12 hours, which never happened, unless you count this picture sometime later, under which he is leading people to believe it is his vehicle, except when I investigated surrounding figures, it isn't his car. The car actually belongs, seemingly, to one of his friends, and yet CEO Regal Andrew posts cropped imagery while responding as if it is his own in the replies. I don't know about all of you, but I don't see many reputable creators posting pictures of vehicles they do not own and pretending it is theirs. Considering all this, I find it to be highly improbable that this newest version of the mansion he has been lying about for months is real. How about hypocrisy while we're at it, or further contradictions on even the most basic commitment? October 25th, CEO of Regal Reserve Andrew Arbini officially states he will be ceasing cash giveaways in 1 week, possibly spurred by factors such as increasing scrutiny of those giveaways, which questioned their legitimacy and motivation. November 1st, he doubles down with a final clout-driven social media growth giveaway. November 12th, not 2 weeks later, it's the season for giveaways. November 30th, $1,000 to someone who follows both his and another profile. December 7th, multiple giveaways, one of which is centered on his own private Instagram to increase the social following there. And as we have well established, these giveaways are funneled through Regal Reserve LLC's banking accounts, which means this individual is using a company account with company funds to run a giveaway that promotes his personal Instagram page after definitively saying multiple times he was done with the giveaway format because too many people use it for clout. Jump forward again to December 15th, back at it like never before, even streamlining the process and moving straight to e-girls as the only contestants. If the mansion is real, this time, finally, that purchase would in no way compensate for the disgusting track record and abysmal state of what Regal is, especially with the child that runs it. But what's life without a little risk? And me taking the risk of being proven wrong weighed against the belief that once again, I am being faced with lies and deception. Well, it's a gambit I am rather enthusiastic about. Were Regal to follow through on even some of the claims that they make, it would be a net positive for their members. That part, truth be told, is somewhat debatable. 8 or more separate individuals barely acquainted with one another moving in together, presumably some are even total strangers from a public Twitter call, while they are supported by the fickle and unpredictable world of streaming and content creation without a massive base of existing support, not to mention the fact that they would each be jointly responsible for the sky-high rent of more than half a dozen residents in a luxurious home, pointedly luxurious here, else it can be classified as a further bait and switch scam. Yeah, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But even if it's a disaster, at least it is a disaster based on truth. So if Regal were to actually build up a creator home, then my vitriolic coverage of this organization has had a material impact that is undeniably positive within the context of reasonable accountability. Andrew, you can placate a ravenous mob with bits and crumbs, create a shield of fans that regurgitate whatever excuses you can muster. But I know what you really are, and that artificial support is ultimately conditional. When it is lost or finally exposed, they will eat you alive. Lastly, I would like to make a formal call to anyone still watching. Please go check out SidAlpha, Pescatore News, 21 Kiloton, and Sophia Narwitz. They are brilliant creators who have also decided to dive into this topic, investigating this organization and educating the community about its construction. Please visit their channels, subscribe, and support them in return for their support of this collaboration. A collaboration with the goal of improving the gaming community at large. As always, if you want to support, there are links down below, merch, Patreon, social media, etc. But this one has already dragged on more than long enough. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.